Here to present the next Western Heritage Awards in the literary category, please welcome John Wayne's daughter, Marisa Wayne, and granddaughter, Anita LaCava Swift.
Thanks for warming up the audience, Cotton. That was really nice of you. This year's Outstanding Art Book, sponsored by Jerry and Ray Winchester, offers you its collection of Charlie Russell art. Each of the 230 artworks has been painstakingly photographed using state-of-the-art equipment to show off the masterful details of Russell's brushwork.
The colors have been carefully proofed against the originals for a perfect match. The result is a catalog of Russell's art as you've never seen it before. Stare down the herd bull as 100 buffalo surge out of the Missouri River bottom. Jump clear of a cowboy on a twisting bronc that scatters the morning coffee and biscuits. Feel the spine-tingling drama as Indians pause behind a rocky outcropping, setting an ambush for white travelers in the valley below.
Through his artwork, you can experience the Montana that was, and the best collection of that work is found in the galleries of the Montana Historical Society and in Montana's Charlie Russell. Accepting the Wrangler for Outstanding Art Book are co-authors Jennifer Bottomley-O'Looney and Kirby Lambert from the Montana Historical Society Press.
We would like to thank the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum for this incredible honor. We are so pleased that the Montana Historical Society's world-class collection of Charlie's art has received such prestigious recognition. And we know that this award is rightly shared with our talented colleagues at the Montana Historical Society, including photographer Tom Ferris, designer Diane Gleba Hall, our amazing editorial staff, and many others who worked so long and hard to make this dream a reality.
We also remain extremely grateful to Richard Gruber for his financial backing and to MHS Curator Emeritus Bob Morgan and his wife Jen for their ongoing support and inspiration throughout the project. And we'd like to acknowledge our spouses for their extraordinary patience and encouragement throughout the writing process. But mostly, we'd like to give credit where credit is due to the man whose life and art was behind the inspiration for this book, Montana's own Charlie Russell. Thank you.
Engaged for 5 years on a photographic project in the wilderness, this year's Outstanding Photography Book includes a CD to allow the reader to share the photographer's journey of hearing the call of the birds overhead, the crunch of snow underfoot, and the hum of a ferry's engine. After photographing the desert in the photography book, Four Corners, and the ocean in the book Still, she has moved on in this new book to the forest.
Her photographs do not describe a particular place. She does not catalog the elements that add up to wilderness. She does not show each detail she observed or convey all the information she learned while she was there. Instead, her photographs and soundscapes bring us to the experience of wilderness.
Sponsored by Michael and Christine Nicola, the Wrangler for Outstanding Photography Book goes to Wilderness, authored by Deborah Bloomfield, and from the University of New Mexico Press, Catherine White.
Thank you, the community of the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, for inviting me here tonight. This museum is a unique and profoundly significant institution devoted to the culture, history, and legacy of the American West. I am humbled being here. but I have more words. I've been a teacher for 30 years, so hold on. 10 years ago, this museum honored me by recognizing my monograph, Four Corners, as an outstanding Western photography book. It was the first time a Wrangler Award in photography was given. It took me 12 years to do Four Corners. It took me 7 years for my Oceanscape, and this book was 5 years in working. When I look back at my experience here, I believe the trajectory for wilderness was set on April 16th, 2005, when I received the reward for Four Corners. I began looking for a landscape that was open, wild, uncultivated, and untouched by humans. Wilderness was that landscape. Wilderness is an environmental photography monograph composed of images and sounds that I recorded on those 5 years in a remote area of northwestern America. To have it end up in the hands again of the University of New Mexico Press, with Catherine White here with me from the press, is a real gift. I consider the press allowing me and them to work together in making a book with integrity. My dreams came true. The diversity of audiences that have sponsored and responded to this work surprises me. My audience have been broader than artists, art historians, benefactors of the art communities. Last May, I presented this work in Telluride, Colorado at a documentary film festival. I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the National Wilderness Conference, the Museum of Natural History and Science in Albuquerque. And this past November, Wilderness went to Paris. My work was personally selected by Giorgio Armani to be exhibited at the Grand Palais, where I truly felt like Cinderella for a night. It is a particular pleasure for me to return here tonight. I have long admired the work you do. We're almost there. Preserve the history and culture of the American West. As someone who has devoted her career to chronicling our open spaces, I am deeply touched to be recognized by this organization. I would also like to acknowledge the federal government's support for environment through its agencies and numerous nonprofit organizations that provide the structure for preserving wild lands. And not to forget President Lyndon B. Johnson, who in 1964 passed the Wilderness Act. Wallace Stegner has said, "Something will have gone out of us as a people if we ever let the remaining wilderness be destroyed. We simply need that wild country available to us, even if we never do more than drive to its edge and look in." Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you on behalf of the University of New Mexico Press. We're really excited to be here with Deborah again with this project, Wilderness.
This year's Outstanding Magazine article was a story about how Southern Colorado ranchers took on the military and won. The author quotes one rancher, "The cowboy culture was put to the test right there, and we all bought into it. We're going to say it like it is and let it be weighed by its own merits."
Sponsored by John and Pat Fetchner, the Outstanding Magazine Article Award goes to writer and editor-in-chief Bob Welch for his article, Not for Sale, and publisher Deanna Jarnigan from the American Cowboy magazine.
I'd first like to thank Anita and Marisa for their kind introduction. They've been friends of American Cowboy magazine for a long time, and we all owe a debt of gratitude to them for their work in the field of cancer research. I'd also like to thank the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum for this award, an event that inspires and recognizes excellence as only the West could produce is a treasure. Most importantly, I'd like to thank my wife, Kristen, for all her support of everything I do. She's a remarkable woman and deserves much more recognition than I can give her here. Also, my parents for raising me in the West and instilling in me a love for the written word. Of course, this piece would not have all come together without American Cowboy's terrific staff, who each played a part in this award becoming a reality. Finally, I'd like to recognize the subjects of the article who allowed me to tell their story, the men and women of southeastern Colorado who fought so hard to defend their ranches. What I learned from them is the American system is not broken. It just takes exceptional dedication and hard work to effect change. Finally, I'd like to thank the good Lord for placing me where he did, when he did, for his purposes.
American Cowboy and its parent company, Active Interest Media, is honored by this award. For 21 years, the magazine has been guided by its mission to chronicle the West and Westerners with engaging content that celebrates our iconic past and while entertaining audiences with stories and images that keep the spirit alive. American Cowboy is blessed to have Bob Welch leading our editorial team in its daily quest to bring together those who love the West, all of you, and who know that the best answers to tough questions, even today, are found in the Cowboy Code. Bob embodies the values of integrity, respect, grit, and faith in his writing, editing, and management, but most importantly, in his life. Thank you, Bob, and thank you, National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum.
Our final award in the literary category is for Outstanding Poetry Book. This year's poetry book is a collection of contemporary poems about Gilberto Luna, an actual farmer in the Chihuahuan Desert during the 1900s. The narrative internalizes the herd survival instincts and his own, adapting appendages into cloven hooves, taking sustenance from the herd while protecting them from predators, although not from his own predation.
The author explores the stark paradoxes of the food chain as it once was in an earlier, more natural era. Nothing was wasted then, and the Texas Poet Laureate wastes nothing now, especially his stunning poetic precision.
The Goat Herd takes home this year's Western Heritage Award for Outstanding Poetry Book. Accepting the award is author Larry D. Thomas.
I first would like to thank the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum staff, partners, and judges for honoring me with this prestigious award. I would like to thank Miranda Maloney, editor and publisher of Mouthfeel Press, for bringing my manuscript into the light of print. I would like to thank Gilberto Luna, pioneer Mexican goat herd and farmer of the Big Bend region, in whose memory my book is dedicated. And last, but certainly not least, I would like to thank my beautiful wife, Lisa, and my beautiful daughter, Dina, without whom I would not be standing here. Thanks to all of you.